I can't call it nothing, but it is barely anything depending on which playoffs Mike James is talking about. So I took to Twitter yesterday to defend Kevin Durant, as I've done quite a bit lately as Kevin Durant and I, venture to repair our relationship. And here's the thing, Brew. If he is saying that KD called him before the NBA playoffs started and said we're fitting to lose, that's problematic. Not great. And it kind of goes in the face of, your hopes and dreams and wishes that the Kumbaya 2022-2023 Nets can be this shadow contender. However, if he is saying he called him before the European League that Mike James plays in, those playoffs started, when the Nets-Celtics series was, for instance, 3-0 Celtics, then I don't have much of a problem with it. At that point, everyone knew the Nets were cooked, and everyone knew that the series was over. So because the league that Mike James plays in, their playoffs start far later than the NBA playoffs. So that would be the question I have. If he called them before the NBA playoffs, then that's bad. If he called him after it was 3-0 Boston, he's like, yeah, man, I'm coming over there. We're not winning this series. Then that, to me, is just being a realist, and it's not giving up on your team. So I'm going to say it's a little tiny bit of something, but not as damning as the quote initially sounds.
I don't think the playoffs are that far apart. The EuroLeague playoffs started April 19th. The NBA, the Nets' first game against the Celtics, I believe, was April 17th. All right, so they were close. You're right. We don't know the exact timeline. But regardless, I don't like it. It's something. All right, I'll give him this. You're talking with your boy. You're private. He obviously would never have said that publicly, but you're talking with your boy. Yeah, man, we in trouble. Like, I'll give you a little bit of that. But I don't like it. You're the leader of the team. You're Kevin freaking Durant. If I was as good at basketball as Kevin Durant and I had a teammate like Kyrie Irving, I'll tell you what, it's going to have to be a heck of a team that we're playing for me to think we can't win. And the Boston Celtics, as good as they ended up being, are young. There was no reason you should have felt at any moment, we can't beat this team. Not with you, Kevin Durant. All right? And look, you say being a realist. LeBron could have been a realist when they were down 3-1 in 2016 to the Warriors and getting stomped. In a couple of games, they got blown out. And he still believed. Steph and Clay could have been realists when they were down 3-1 to Durant's Oklahoma City team in 2016 in the Western Conference Finals. But they believed. When you're that level of talent, one of the greatest to ever play, you should always believe. So, it's something. We don't know the exact timeline. Was it 3-0? Was it right before the series? I don't like it either way. I like it more if it was 3-0, but I don't like it anyway. It's bad. You got to believe, KD. You're a great player. Believe that. You can win.
Oh. Broussard, he's so frustrated that even Kevin Durant doesn't believe in the Nets as much as he does.
As much as he does.
I just love it so much.
That's the anger.
It is
That's
so
where it
great.
comes from.
This is just
Ben Simmons,
this is
Kyrie Irving.
Oh no, here we go.
T.J. Warren.
Keep going.
Patty Mills. I could go on. The roster is stacked, KD. There's no need to leave. Just believe. I could go.
Okay, here's why I love this story. It's first of all, it's just shards of information that we have to put together, and we're probably going to end up getting cut on one of them. Like, that one's totally wrong. The one thing I know for sure, Kevin Durant, great friend. It's like, yeah, I'll fly over there and support you. And I remember when those videos hit the internet, I was like, look at KD, good friend to come over. On the other side, though, Nick, Mike James, get some friendship points deducted for just kind of airing out how I got there, and now that I've got Chris Broussard in a tizzy. But now here are the shards of information that we're going to make the leap. And I've been harping on this, and I know you guys are probably tired of hearing it, but I don't really care. I've yet to figure out, and you guys have yet to tell me, why Kevin Durant wants to leave the Nets. It's not the ownership. It's not necessarily the roster. It's not the coach. It's not the championship chances. I don't know what it is. Until you see something like this, and I'm allowed to make the leap that there is some je ne sais quoi about the Nets that he realizes, Nick, that this is not a championship team. And it's not based on analytics or personal relationships or Kyrie's contract. There's something there that he doesn't believe in. And now, granted, that's a leap from the shards of information from Mike James's podcast appearance, but I am putting it in my little box of evidence of why, as I try to figure out why Kevin Durant wants to leave Brooklyn.
And Wilds, listen, I don't speak French. That's Jenna on this show. So I don't know exactly what je ne sais quoi translates to, but I don't think
that's exactly
it translates to the last 2 years of evidence of playing games on the court and continually getting beat in the playoffs and not showing out well. Is that what it means? Because I think that's the je ne sais quoi that you're talking about. They were the 7 seed. They got swept this year. They have a bad coach. They have a mismatched roster even though Brew is just is all of a sudden, I've never heard of a bigger T.J. Warren and Royce O'Neal fan than Chris Broussard has all of a sudden become. Not to mention Ben Simmons, notable playoff performer. Brew, you kept calling it a close sweep. You were all in on this team. And now we have not only evidence that Kevin Durant, as soon as the season ended, said, get me the hell out of here. But Kevin Durant, at one point in the midst of the season, was checking, kayak.com for flights to Italy because he's like, this thing is not going to end right. And you're still holding on to the ghost that the next year Nets are going to be something. How much evidence do we need to present you? Yeah, go ahead.
You need to present evidence, not revisionist history, because that's all you're giving me. It's a bunch of revisionist history. Oh, they not any good in the playoffs. Was it 2 years ago that they took the Bucks to 7 games despite James Harden being injured and then coming back playing on one leg? Kyrie Irving getting hurt. It was all KD, and they almost beat the eventual champions. And you got out of round 2. I'm not done with the revisionist history. You're going to rip T.J. Warren. I know you watched the bubble. I know you watched the basketball in the bubble, and T.J. Warren was a bubble baller. All right, T.J. Warren averaged like 30 in the bubble. He was killing. It's on. It's so on this year in Brooklyn. And then, he's been injured. He'll be back. He was a bubble baller. Okay. And then, Nick, you want to act like everything went smoothly in the regular season last year, and they just weren't any good. No, Kyrie was off and on, in and out. You had no time to develop the chemistry. So going into the playoffs, even though Kyrie was there, they were at a decided deficit. That's the truth, America. That's the evidence. Don't believe the revisionist history that Nick Wright is painting. Don't buy it.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Here is also the truth in the evidence. There were 15 playoff series played this year. One of them involved a sweep. There were 16 teams that made the playoffs this year. One of them did not win a single game. That team had Kyrie Irving, had Kevin Durant. Here's another piece of evidence that is not revisionist history. Kevin Durant has probably, maybe not, listen, Brew is as plugged in as anyone I've ever met. But I'm going to guess Kevin Durant has you got to let me finish the sentence, has a better feeling of the pulse of the Nets than even the great Chris Broussard. And Kevin Durant, as soon as the season ended, said, get me out of here. I got to go. So that is not revisionist history.
He said that.
That is not even history.
He said that in San Francisco too. He said that in Golden State.
Yeah, and he left.
How'd that work out? That
And
mean
he left.
he was wrong.
He left,
and he was
though.
wrong.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.